Ćao, ja sam Mitana.
Ćao, ja sam Kiki.
Sa nama su danas učenici Internacionalne škole u Beogradu i oni će debatovati na temu školovanje u inostranstvu ili kod kuće. Tu je njihov koordinator van nastavnih aktivnosti, profesor Vladimir Stanojlovic. Dobar dan.
Dobar dan.
Da li možete da nam kažete nešto više o tome kako je nastao debatni klub, koliko dugo traje i kako se razvija?
Naš debatni klub je započeo pre jedno 5-6 godina. Mi sad inače takmičimo na takmičenjima u centralnoj i istočnoj Evropi i hteo bih da naglasim da smo ove godine pobedili prvo mesto u okviru tog takmičenja. Također bih hteo da posebno naglasim da smo vrlo srećni što učestvujemo u ovakvom jednom programu i nadam se da će i Beograd malo bolje upoznati Internacionalnu školu.
Sa nama su i gosti. Profesor sa Fakulteta za poslovne studije i prava, profesor Dejan Miletic. Dobar dan.
Dobar dan.
Student Fakulteta za poslovne studije i prava, Balde Mamadu. Tu je bivša učenica Internacionalne škole, Darija Minić. Ćao.
Zdravo.
Još jedna zanimljivost jeste da imamo učenicu iz Internacionalne škole koja je učestvovala u filmu Velika lepota koji je osvojio Oscara, Ana Luisa Capasa. Hello. Let the debate begin.
I would like to open up this debate by stating my opinion, and my opinion is a bit more based on the individual and financial perspective. I personally believe that the Serbian youth should be encouraged to leave Serbia in the pursuit of employment, and the reason behind this is because a job you carry out here might not be of the same payoff that it is in another country, which is a bit more economically developed than Serbia. An example would be working as a janitor for maybe 20,000, 30,000 dinars, which is about the average minimum wage here. You could get the money working here in Serbia, but you could maybe earn 3 times as much money in more economically developed countries, for example, Germany or Switzerland, etc., etc., etc. And the money the students, well, not students, pardon, the youth earns outside Serbia can be sent back home. Now, if you, for example, earn 1,000 euros versus 200 euros, those 800 euros extra you earn outside, when you send them back home, the money is of a great value. That's like worth 4 months of work in Serbia, which you earn in 1 month in another country. So my honest opinion is that people should leave in case they would like to, from a financial perspective, earn more money, right? And also, if you guys heard of the term Gastarbeiter, I'm sorry for the poor pronunciation to my German friends. People who work outside and come back home for breaks, as well as invest money in Serbia, well, their family in Serbia. I personally know a lot of people who do this, who live this lifestyle, and I can safely say that, one, their life is a bit more happier than of people who earn money here, a bit more healthier as well, less stress, more money, and overall a bit better. And that would be my opinion.
What if everybody left to get education and employment abroad, right? To pay taxes abroad, to live their lives abroad, to raise their kids abroad, right? There would be nobody left in Serbia to send money to. There would be nothing left in Serbia, and there would be no Serbia anymore. And especially not if all the young people left, right? The young people are the future of the country, and if they all leave, I mean, it's basic logic. There won't be a country. I mean, living abroad is nice when you earn more money, but it defeats the purpose of having more money and, you know, living abroad in the first place, because then there is no country, you know, for you to go abroad from too. Which sounds strange, but, you know, trust me, it makes sense. Now, I think another thing is that life abroad in Western countries, America, Germany, Switzerland, England, it's not as nice as a lot of people in Serbia might think. I lived in the United States for several years, and I've been to Western countries, and the truth is that, I mean, they're not that much different from Serbia. From an economic perspective, salaries do tend to be higher. But I really think that, I mean, if you moved abroad and you had the same job in Germany that you had in Serbia, you'd have more money, but you'd also find that your taxes are higher. You'd find that the cost of living is higher. You would find that you're living in an anonymous suburb, maybe in America, or, you know, a huge city full of strangers. You would not see any Serbian people around. You'd have to make new friends. You'd be in a completely different place, and at the end of the day, you'd probably realize that Serbia wasn't so bad in the first place. I know from my personal experience, that's what it was like living in the United States, right? I enjoy Serbia much more than America or other countries, even though I'm not Serbian, but Serbia is nicer to me. It's more comfortable, it's more open, it's more, I mean, just more cheerful in general. And I mean, I think that is a very important thing to consider, because if you go abroad and you study and you work abroad, you'll earn more money, you'll have a bigger paycheck, but that paycheck won't encapsulate everything that you might gain in life. And I think that's what we should be looking at too.
I do agree with Marco, and I do think that we should think of this as a more collective thing rather than Mihail's individualistic view. And I do think that people should stay in their country, and by going abroad, in a way they go against their own nation. And according to research done by NTV, which is one of the most prestigious Turkish television news channels, nearly every year 15,000 newly graduates leave Turkey in order to pursue a degree abroad. And this just continues with people just leaving their country. And these people leave their country in order to pursue a degree abroad and thinking that they will get a better education abroad, when they could benefit so much more back home. And by going abroad, they also benefit the economies of these foreign nations rather than their own nation, because being an international student, it costs much more than being a domestic student in a foreign country. And I believe that this consequently just leads on people leaving their country because it won't benefit, and people will also want to leave. And this just turns into a cycle of people just wanting to pursue a degree abroad.
You know, personal fulfillment is something that I personally value a lot, and I've been able to experience that as well my whole life. You know, I've moved every 3 to 4 years. I've lived in countries like Senegal, France, England, Germany. And I think I've really benefited. I have a much more, you know, like open understanding of different cultures, and I feel, you know, although it might be you might think it's a cultural obligation to stay in your country, I think, you know, there's personal fulfillment that needs to be satisfied throughout your life. You know, these experiences that you can gain from leaving your country is something very, very cherished, I think. And for example, you look at all the like most economically developed cities and countries in the world. Take New York, for example. New York has a huge, diverse population. They have so many different cultures. They have so many different people from different nationalities. It's crazy. And, you know, as a result, they're also one of the most economically developed. So I think you can also apply this to yourself. If you're culturally diverse, if you're open to all of these different cultures, and I feel that you can benefit yourself as well. So yeah, I think, you know, take these other points into consideration, but also think about yourself. It's very important.
One of my friends here earned about $10 a day working at a job here, and when I was back in the States over the summer, I earned about $10 an hour. That there's a lot better economic opportunities in Western countries, not only the United States, and I feel like that's really important in considering where you want to leave or where you want to go to school. And I really also kind of disagree with what Marco said, that the U.S. isn't as nice or happy as a place. I feel like the U.S. and Serbia are sort of the same, that people are generally happy everywhere. And I also feel like we should take into consideration, all of us, our experience in Serbia and how it's affected by our own personal economic situation. That we all are sort of, not privileged, but we don't really have to worry about money. And so that might affect, for example, how much he enjoys Serbia in general. I think it has for me. It's given us a lot of opportunities to explore different areas and be able to explore Serbia to a larger extent. I just feel like it's really important for kids to think about the economic implications of leaving, and I think it's a positive thing to leave, and so I think that they should if they have the chance.
Though I see what you mean, I have to disagree with you. Even if you were to make $10 an hour at a job where you were in America at that time, there's lots of people there that end up having that sort of job for like their entire life living in America, and they're just as bad off as some of the poor people here in Serbia. And the reason for that is because the cost of living is much higher. You have various bills and taxes and things you need to pay in order to just live like a normal person. And that takes a toll on the amount of income that you have, and you end up with about the same amount of expendable income as you would if you were to stay here in Serbia with a job that paid less. And $10 an hour, that's not even the minimum wage. It varies between states, but like my home state, it's $6.25, and that's not a whole lot to live on. I'm actually, when I go back to America, I'm going to be getting my own apartment, and I'm going to have to... luckily, I will be having the apartment with somebody else, and that's pretty lucky for me because some people might be coming over here and just trying to do it all on their own, and it's going to be difficult to find a job that takes you full time. It's going to be difficult to find a job that pays you more than just the minimum wage, especially with you just coming over from another country. Getting a flight to come to America is expensive. It's sort of an investment to be able to come here, then have these jobs or these education and stuff like that. And that's why I think you should really be focusing on the education aspect of coming to America and wanting to go to a place where you can get smarter and have a better job that way, not coming over here and just trying to get a job with no extra education whatsoever.
I think Marco brought up a good point. Other places aren't perfect and the cost of living is in fact higher, as you said. But I think that the experience and knowledge you gain from living or studying abroad really compensates for those factors. I've lived in several different countries myself, like Saudi Arabia, France, Germany, and now Serbia. And I think I've not only learned a lot cultural-wise, but also language-wise. For example, if my parents would have stayed in Germany, I don't think I would be able to speak English the way I can now. I think you get more open-minded if you live and study in different countries. And I think Karen mentioned this before. Other countries might be a little more advanced than Serbia. So if you study abroad, you can maybe gain some knowledge that you wouldn't have got otherwise and bring that knowledge back to your own country and help your own country to get more advanced that way. So I think if you have the means and the chance to go study or live abroad, I think you should really take it.
Until a big change in the economy and the government does not occur, there is no chance that Serbia can compete with the normal country where the average income is considered normal. Because if we want it or not, the normal average income in Serbia is considered poor in more developed countries. Nearly 3/4 of the population in Serbia work in black, meaning they do not have working contracts, meaning that this limits their standard of life, because with no working contract, you get no help or benefits from the government. You get no medical insurance, and you get no benefits at all. So, you know, why do they do this? Why do they not give contracts? The answer is the following: because they do not want to pay the taxes. And if taxes aren't paid, then of course there is a discrepancy in the government, right? Yes. So, you know, who can blame them? Who can live with an average income of 300, 400 euros a month? Who can live with a pension of 250 euros a month? How much does a doctor earn in Germany over a year? We can say over 70,000 euros. How much does a specialist in Serbia earn in a year? 3,000 euros. That's a huge discrepancy. The irony in this situation is that in the end, the people who do pay the taxes and who are forced to pay the taxes are the poor people, because all of the rich people in Serbia earn everything, and in the end they don't pay anything. If a change doesn't occur in the corrupted system and in the government and in the scarce economical resources, then it really does not matter like where you got your master's once you come back.
We have to consider the fact that exploring opportunities abroad is highly beneficial for each individual. Personally, I have moved around a lot, and this has shaped a diverse and international outlook, which I apply in everything that I do. Living in a city like Dubai, where international diversity is highly encouraged, I have found that before being able to change your country and the situation as a whole, you must first look at yourself. Primarily, I believe that education is very important, and because in a sense it dictates the way your whole life is going to unfold. For example, I want to study hospitality and tourism, and it is widely known that the best universities for this are in Switzerland. Staying in Serbia, where there aren't many opportunities in this industry, would damage my future job prospects, and it would in no way aid myself, my family, or my country. Moving to Switzerland for a couple of years until I have at least finished my Bachelor of Science degree, I would be able to come back to Serbia and perhaps influence a change for the greater good of those who perhaps don't have the chance to move and study abroad. Each country has its strengths and weaknesses. And if an individual was to leave their country and get a good education, well, after that, nothing is stopping them to come back and display this knowledge that they've learned abroad. Today, also, it's really important to consider that we live in a world where it's important to note that those who travel and who have all these experiences will be highly regarded in any career that they pursue.
So starting off, Mihailo has said that moving to the West would result in you getting more money, which is true, but it is important to consider that the living cost is also higher in the other countries. Therefore, more money does not necessarily mean you would live a more luxurious lifestyle. Furthermore, if all this money is used to maintain your lifestyle, how much can you really send back to your own family? Therefore, if you leave your country to study abroad, it is not as profitable as you would imagine, and you distance yourself from your family. On the other hand, it is also important to consider, though, that Mihailo is right to some extent. In other countries, you get opportunities you would not be able to get in your own country. So, for example, Serbia might not be as developed in medicine, let's say, but the US would be. Therefore, it would be more beneficial in terms of knowledge and opportunities to go there. Kerem has brought the idea of cultures and values, and he discussed this idea of personal fulfillment, which is true, but in my opinion at least, it is important to also consider your own values and remember where you come from, your origins, because without thinking about those, then how will you help them strive and grow? I've been here for what seems like forever. It is like a second home for me, but I've been here for 5 years. And for me, Serbia is a very unique place. But if the youth leaves and gains new values from different cultures and shape their new persona, then what is left of Serbia? As Marko mentioned, what is Serbia now? It is no longer unique. It is no longer as powerful as one would imagine. But on the other hand, yes, it is important to consider other cultures. It is important to shape your personality according to the world, because we're becoming more globalized. We need to see different opinions, different cultures, different values, and learn from them. Then when you look at Ana and Antonia, they brought this idea of other place not being perfect, which is true, but so is Serbia. It's not perfect. It is a developing nation, and regardless of many difficulties it might have had in the past, it succeeded, and still is. It is a well-respected nation and known in many areas, such as sports. And yes, inequality does exist here, but of course it does. When you look at the past, it's been outcast from the family of nations. There are many incidents in history, NATO, and it's now trying to get back into the EU, etc. And time is needed to help the resources develop, and slowly, I believe it will regain its power. But by allowing the young generation to leave, this will not happen. So my opinion on this topic, it's very based on the individual. Yes, it is important to consider the economic implication. And of course, to some extent, some people might not be able to do this, while some might. But it is also important to consider that in other nations, in other countries, you might get opportunities you would not be able to get in Serbia.
Oni su već debatovali na ovu temu i govorili su koje su privilegije, šta je loše u tome kad bi se školovali u inostranstvu, ali ja bih vas pitala, po vašem mišljenju, da li treba provesti neko vreme u inostranstvu i koje su dobre i loše strane toga?
Today we are living in interdependent world, in a world which is integrated day by day, more and more. We are calling such a kind of process globalization. The world is globalizing. Never mind all the obstacles, all the challenges, I mean those crises and everything. We are going to have that. We have now, we are going to have in the future many challenges. but the world is going to overcome all of them. And we are going to the unification of the world. One day, maybe not in our lives, I believe it's going to be hard to see that the world is globalized in our life, but one day we are going to live in a planet like we are living in European Union, like we are going to live in European Union, without borders, with one currency. And that cultural shock we need to adopt to be more open for new cultural
Is that cultural shock good for us?
We were in a position of some kind of self-isolation, you know. We were previously we were isolated by international community for some period of time, and later we feel that not so comfortable when we see and have contacts with different nations. We feel that people might hate us, or that we are going to have some kind of problem because they perceive Serbia in a different. But that is not true. People are good or bad. We see each other as a people with whom we can work, we can be friends, and so on, depending on the personal qualities. And if we are working on education, if we are working on ourselves, then we are going to become better people. And then there is no obstacle for us. You know, I want to stress one point, very important. Serbia has signed Bologna Declaration. That means that our degrees are going to be recognized all around Europe. Same as if you are going to study in Germany, in France, in Sorbonne, and so on and so on. All exams are going to be recognized all around Europe. But still, we are not working as much as it is important to be more open on university level, especially because there are no English classes. Right now, we have started in our faculty English department, which is where students can come all around Europe, the world, and then they are going to be in a position to study in Serbia in English. But that's something which needs to be standard in our country, in every country, because people should travel, should have new experience, culturally, educationally. They need to meet each other, to interconnect, to build networks, because that is advantage in 21st century in modern world.
Thank you.
I would ask student Balde. So, you came here to study. What is your experience? Can you tell me a short story about it? Where did you come from and why did you come here in Serbia to study?
Moje ime je Balde Mamadou Boj. Dolazim iz Republike Gvineje, frankofone zemlje. Studiram management na Fakultetu za poslovne, studije I pravo. I have a parent who was here in the period of Tito. He gave me some information about your country, and I said myself, it is a good place maybe, but you know, before coming here, the big problem for me was about the language. I didn't know any word in your language before coming, and I said myself, I will come here and I will experience your country. Maybe I will find something positive in your country. And after that, I try to send my papers in some faculties, but the first one was about Forkup, in where I'm studying now. When I sent them all my papers, they said, okay, I can come without any problem. And since I'm here, I think it is a nice place to study. You don't have to spend much more money about the life situation, the economic situation, and we have much more opportunity to do here. I have met many strangers here, and I think I will continue to meet also some strangers and to exchange my culture and some strangers' cultures. And I think to be an international student, at the beginning is not easy. I think it is the same for everyone, but we only need time. Maybe things gonna be okay.
Thank you very much. I pitanje za Dariju, ti si bivša učenica Internacionalne škole, je li tako?
Jesam.
Sad reci mi, kako je to tebi bilo? Ti si odavde, je li tako?
Jesam.
Sad, kako si ti došla do Internacionalne škole, zbog čega, kako ti je bilo tamo i šta ćeš dalje da radiš?
Dobro. Pa prvo da kažem, moja mama radi u Internacionalnoj školi i zato sam i otišla tamo i bez nje ne bih ni znala uopšte šta je Internacionalna škola. Ali mogu da kažem da je stvarno to u tom obrazovnom aspektu najbolja stvar koja mi se desila, zato što je to potpuno drugačiji sistem od sistema obrazovnog u srpskim školama. I dok u stvari ne prođete kroz sve to, ne možete ni da znate koliko u stvari to ima prednosti. I dobro, ja sam se isto mnogo žalila i kukala, kao što sam tamo mnogo puta, ali stvarno sad kad pogledam unazad i kažem, vau, dobro je što sam prošla kroz sve to. A sada studiram ovde na Filozofskom fakultetu, na odeljenju za psihologiju i mogu da kažem da je opet to bio šok vratiti se nazad u srpski sistem, jer i bez obzira na to što stvarno imam i odlične profesore i zanimljive predmete, mogu da kažem stvarno da se sve opet svodi na to uči, strana 1000 i više, a prakse nema. I to je u stvari meni najveći problem, zato što fakultet uopšte ne omogućava, meni barem do 4. godine uopšte mi ne omogućava praksu i mislim da je to generalno problem, zato što sutra kad budem tražila posao, oni će mi reći, pa dobro, sve je to lepo što si ti naučila, ali ajde da vidimo nešto konkretno što može da se primeni. Tako da, sad ću da kažem na engleskom da bi mogli da razumeju. I'm actually thinking of going outside, abroad, and then getting my master's degree or even maybe a doctor's degree, and then coming back here. So that's what you've said, I think, yeah, because the youth should really stay here and help develop this country. But the thing is that this country, I feel like this country is not giving us really a great opportunity to, develop and get that self-fulfillment that you were talking about. So, yeah.
Hvala ti.
Pazi, mladost!
Vidimo se sledeće nedelje.
Pazi mladost!